Alright, so for today what I wanted to do is just finish up section 8.6 with a few more problems on negative exponents. So today is the 30th, and this is section 8.6. We're going to be talking about quadratic techniques. With negative exponents. Okay, so I had three examples for us today. One of them says x to the negative second minus 12x to the negative first plus 35 is equal to 0. Easiest way to do any kind of quadratic techniques. I'm looking at a trinomial, and I know that if I do negative 1, so if I say y is equal to x to the negative first, x to the negative second is just that term squared. And this works with most of these quadratic techniques problems, where what you're going to be substituting is just this middle variable. So let's go ahead and write y to the second minus 12y plus 35 is equal to 0. We could factor this using trinomial factoring. Factors of 35 would be 7 and 5. So y would be 7 and y would be 5. If we make the substitution back, x to the negative first is 7 and x to the negative first is 5. If we raise both sides to the reciprocal power, when you multiply a power to a power, that turns into 1, and the answer would be 1 over 7. Same thing on this side. If we raise both sides to the negative first power, we get 1/5. So both of these would be correct answers. For our second example, that sound before, I'm itching my chin, so if you didn't know what that noise was, now you know. So let's see. Y to the negative first minus 7y to the negative 1/2 plus 10 is equal to 0. So we could do the same thing we did before. I know y to the negative 1/2 times 2 is y to the negative first, so I can make that substitution. X is that middle term, y to the negative 1/2. So I would get x to the second minus 7x plus 10 is equal to 0. We could factor trinomials. It would be negative 5 and negative 2. X would be 5 and x would be 2. And then we could go ahead and substitute y to the negative 1/2 back in. And if we raise both sides to the reciprocal power, negative 1/2 times its reciprocal becomes just 1. 2 to the negative second is 1 over 2 to the second, and 5 to the negative second is 1 over 5 to the second. We'll do one more problem, and then I'll give you a couple problems for homework. What if we had z to the negative 1/3 minus 2z to the negative 1/6 plus 1 is equal to 0? Well, I know negative 1/6 to the second is negative 1/3, so I can make that substitution again. For all of these problems, if we use this middle variable for our substitution, it'll always work. So we get x to the second minus 2x plus 1 equals 0. So it'll be x minus 1 times x minus 1. So x would be 1, x would be 1. And if we substitute back in z to the negative 1/6, we could raise both sides to the negative 6th power. And we get z would equal 1 to the negative 6 is 1 over 1 to the 6th. And same thing over here. We'd get a double root multiplicity. Okay, so for homework, what I would like you to please do is on practice 8.6, please try numbers 13 and 14. That'll be your homework. All right, thank you very much. Have a nice day.